People of the internet, just like the people after the rapture and that terrible novel series in the late 90s, Bert Kreischer is feeling left behind. By who and why is he feeling this way? I don't know, but today we're going to figure that out by watching Comedy Enforcement's video. Bert Kreischer realizes he's being left behind. Are we going to feel sorry for Bert Kreischer? I don't know. So let's click play and get underway.
How is it that you can get sad when you see someone doing something, but then you've also done the same thing, and then but it reflects on you internally? Like, you know what I mean? It's like such a weird thing. Sometimes I will see a picture like this, and I'm not touring, and it'll bum me out.
Well, outside of Bert's being bummed out, something I want to address now that we're looking at this photo here is these guys, they claim to sell out arenas. You know, if we look up here in this section here, massively empty, 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 empty. Got a section empty right here. Got another section empty right here. A lot of empty spots throughout here. And I question the validity of, do these guys sell out arenas? Well, Kill Tony is happening April 4th, so what, about 2 weeks or so? They're going to be playing in this arena here in Nashstone, the Bridgestone Arena, okay? And you look at, do they sell out arenas? Now, I know it's 2 weeks away, right? I know it's 2 weeks away, but like a lot of like really of these great arena events sell out pretty quickly a lot of times. Like I wanted 9 Inch Nails tickets, and those things are gone. They're gone. And I don't think he was playing in an arena where I wanted to go at least. And, you know, sold out. Boom. Just like that. So I would think the same for such a success as Kill Tony. You know, one of the greatest things to ever happen to comedy, isn't that what Joe Rogan says? That he would sell out the tickets. So we look here, 100 plus tickets available. Okay. 95 tickets. Okay. 100 plus tickets. 100 plus tickets. 100 plus tickets. Okay. 100 plus tickets. 100 plus. 100 plus. 67. Okay. Good. 31. Ooh, they sold that, and sold that right there. No, those might not even be available, but they did sell that. And if you notice where all the photos are pointed, the only areas that they actually sell in these arenas will be like this middle section. Not even on this one. Oh, see, like there, 38 tickets. You see how it goes lower? 83 tickets. So 91. See, all these are under 100, right? Except these ones aren't. But they'll sell these middle sections, and you'll notice that is where these pictures are taken. Because if you notice, there's a lot of empty seats. I'm just saying, just a little side caveat here. Let's go.
I'll go, what am I doing with my life? I wish I could do something like this. And I was with Leanne in bed, and I saw the list of pictures, and it looked so fun.
There's no friction. It's just life gets crazy.
Yeah.
You should do it once.
This is my arena tour.
But then the next tour, you should do theaters.
For the past 5 years, we've watched Bert Kreischer go from being a regular stand-up comic and TV show host to one of the biggest names in stand-up comedy at the time. He had one of the highest grossing comedy tours back then, had a movie made about him, and at the same time, had multiple successful comedy shows on YouTube. You know the deal. But as the saying goes, what goes up must come down. And although for comics like Bert, a downfall still looks like a dream lifestyle that most of us will likely never touch, that decline still weighs heavily on these entertainers, especially someone like Bert, who, let's be honest, thrived on being the center of attention and being the guy on top. And well, recently, Bert has been going through some very interesting times. His own friends seem to be tired of him. Sober October ended, and now Bert is finally taking a break from touring. But on top of that, for the first time in over 3 years, the fully loaded tour is not happening, which is very strange, but very interesting. And also, what's really wild is that not too long ago, Louis C.K. pretty much predicted and warned Bert Kreischer about everything that he's going through at the moment. But of course, back then, he completely ignored it and forgot about it.
I remember.
Hey, wait, just a second. the thing about entertainment, it's sad. I think people like having people's attention, right? But it's just like anything else, like there's people that can do it for a long time, just like there's people that you work at a shit job, like at some point in your life, and this person's like, I've been here for 25 years, and you're like, squeeze me? What? And it's the same in the industry. Some people make it, some people don't. I just think like in every other thing in life, right, is the same as entertainment. Like things have a season. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not, and sometimes they're lifelong things, and like you just got to accept that things have their time. And then sometimes, like my channel, you just don't ever have your time, and you just make videos because why not?
You're telling me a lot of like really kind of sage things.
I used to do arenas and stuff. All that.
You told me that.
Yeah.
You go, you're doing arenas. I said, yeah. And you go, it's for you.
Yeah, exactly. The audience is not. It's not. It's fun. Like, wow, look, I'm in an arena, but the audience is like, I can't even see him. If you're a fan, you watch the guy every time he comes to town. If you're in Minneapolis, you see him come to the Acme every year, and then you go, he's at the Pantages now. That's cool. And then the State Theater, and then he plays the Timberwolves Stadium.
I'm playing there,
and you go there as a fan. You go, huh. Okay, good for you, Bert. I'm happy for you. But the next year, if he's at the Timberwolves, you don't see him again there. You'll see him at the Pantages every time he comes.
Yeah.
Your favorite comedian. But you're not going to go see him at the arena every year.
I would love to.
I think that's true because I've lived all over places, and let's say 75 when I was younger is more often, but like at least 70% of the time that Henry Rollins comes to town, just because I think he is such a good storyteller and I like his live show. I've seen Henry Rollins like more times than I can count all over the world. I've seen him in different countries. I've seen him in different cities, but it's true. And he always plays these cool theaters where they're usually sold out shows, but there's just these cool theaters, and like you can see him right there, and he just stands in one spot for 3.5 hours and tells stories. So like I totally like Louis C.K. is totally right.
To say I'm done for a year, but I don't have that brain. I can't.
Yeah, I need the time off.
Now it's 2025, and all the close friends that he once overshadowed have completely blown up and caught up to him. They all have comedy specials on Netflix. They're doing arenas. And since the market for podcast comedians has cooled down, well,
all these empty seats up there, you see them?
And what makes this such an interesting case, in my opinion, is that we're not technically witnessing a downfall, at least not yet. And instead, we're basically watching Bert Kreischer getting into his own head and completely freaking out over the idea that his fans and his close friends might realize that he's no longer an arena comic.
It was lit there, dude. It was like we're about just a hair under 17,000 people, and they were like, I mean, it's Chicago. Like they were energetic and like, yeah, he had a great set. I had the most fun doing that show. And a lady had a seizure in that show.
Someone had a seizure?
Yeah.
Someone had a seizure at my Lucky taping.
Oh, really?
During the taping, someone had a seizure, and I was like, "Great, we won't use this unless."
I'm like working the round, so I'm like working it,
I had an interesting moment when I saw that.
I mean, that's something we're all looking forward to, right? Bert Kreisler is releasing a special. Is that not? I think it's coming up in a couple weeks or something. I saw the ad on Netflix. Very, very excited for that. And I bet everybody is. And you know what? If Bert is feeling sad now, 2 days after his special comes out and all these content creators release videos on it, because it will be bad, because he don't have an act. Come on now. Oh, Lord. Bert Kreischer is going to be so sad soon. It's coming, folks. Like, what, 2 or 3 weeks? 2 weeks it comes out? I don't know. I think it's April 4th maybe, or April 7th. I don't know. But, oh, boy, just wait. Just wait. It's going to be like the breakdown of Bert Kreisler.
Picture that we have up right now, that's you in Chicago. And I haven't been really on social media a ton. I've been trying to stay off it just for mental health, because sometimes, I'm being very candid and honest, sometimes I will see a picture like this and I'm not touring and it'll bum me out. And
Oh,
I'll
that
go,
you're
what am
not
I doing with my life? I wish I could do something like this. And I was with Leanne in bed, and I saw the list of pictures, and it looked so fun.
It was fun.
You got the jerseys.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
you're with DeStefano, and it's just so
And Tate,
cool.
Jeff Tate was there.
Yeah, Jeff Tate. And I was
Yeah.
in bed with Leanne, and I was like, I'm not doing shit with my career.
Oh my God, you're crazy.
And I was like,
dude.
I gotta get on the road. I gotta get back on tour. And I was like, I gotta do Chicago. I want to do the United Center. And she was like, wait, didn't you do it last time you were in Chicago? I was like, oh, did I? She goes, yeah. And then I look, and I have the exact same picture of me in United Center. And I'm like, God damn it. How is it that you can get sad when you see someone doing something, but then you've also done the same thing, and then but it reflects on you internally? Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like such a weird thing to like see someone on vacation and it bums you out, and you're like, wait, I've been to that exact resort.
Yeah.
Like, I see people on vacation and I go, oh man, I wish I could do that. I was in Spain.
Yo, I think everybody does that, man. Life should be a giant vacation where we just have infinite money. Like, I don't know who made this whole society thing up, but it don't make sense. We're just fighting each other. Why can't we all be on vacation? It's like bit, bat, boom. You know what I mean? Anyways, so I don't think anybody that sees anybody on vacation gets depressed because they're like, God, I got to work the job, you know, and I'm stuck here till like 7:30, and like my show starts at 7, so I'm gonna miss that. You know, what's up, man? This is some bull. You know, it's just how it is. I just think I don't know what you can say about Bert. I want to say something, then I look at him, and it's just like, what's the point?
I was in Spain looking at people on vacation going, I want to go on vacation.
You're like, I'm on vacation.
Yeah, what the
Wait, how was Spain?
Funny enough, Bert brought up a great question. How come if he already did everything that his friends are doing right now, you know, doing arenas and being the guy on top, why does he still feel sadness and frustration whenever his friends like Tom are doing exactly what he already did? And well, I think the answer is pretty simple, and it goes back to him always wanting to be the center of attention and the fact that he's no longer that. But also on top of that, him no longer being needed is really getting to his head. What I mean by that is that for the past years, even if you were not a fan of Bert, you couldn't deny that he was massively successful, and so he had the opportunity to help out other comedians by giving them jobs. We've mentioned this before, but when it comes to the Fully Loaded tour, because Bert actually cares about putting on a good show and doesn't really care about having comics that are way better than him going on before.
Doesn't that look like a night of torture? Like, the Femster. Oh man, I would leave like all of these comics. Chad Daniels, you got that skank dude. Then you got Big J just trashing on all the women. This looks awful. Ew.
Or it really is a good opportunity to not only make good money, but also get experience performing in front of a massive crowd and also maybe get some new fans. And so for a comedian looking for work, besides Joe Rogan, you could argue that being close friends or being associated with Bert was one of the best things in terms of opportunities.
I'm going to do my own festival, and I'm going to get 7 tour buses, a couple private jets. I'm going to get 26 comics. I'm going to take them on the road. I'm going to pay everyone handsomely, and I'm not going to make any money. Well, I'm not doing it for the cash grab. There's no cash grab in this. For me, it's about the party, the hang that I wanted to have at Oddball. Yeah. Because I wanted to be with you guys. I wanted to.
Man,
I wanted to.
That's what you're doing.
Bobby, it's the only reason I'm doing it. It's not profitable.
Well, it's not true. It is profitable. But the thing is he is Frank the Tank. When he says he wants to do everything for the hang and the party, I believe it. That's the one thing I believe about Bert. I think Bert Chrysler, I keep calling him from that other thing. But Bert, his like the point he wants to always go back to and make happen in everything he does is that first time he went to the college party and he like kicked open the doors and like the like 80s Poison rocks and and he just walks through and like he just chugs a beer and he's like, yeah, and he's just walking through there like this, you know. That is the moment he wants to relive every day. So believe him when he says that. I would normally not advise you to believe him, but believe him when he says that.
Text him. You know how much I offered you. What are you getting angry for? I offered everyone tons of money. Like, it's not profitable. For me, it's about 5 weeks in the summer where I get to hang out with my friends and party. That's it. That's it. That's it. We will make money. I'm sure we'll make money, but not like if I just.
You know why? You know another reason why is because that's 5 weeks he can party, and it's like his job. Like, he can tell his wife, hey babe, like this is my job. Like, they expect this. I told them this is what we're gonna do, and it's an excuse to party for 5 weeks without having his wife nag him. Even though I'm sure to some extent, but like, he legit can play that card. That's why he loves it.
Just went on tour.
Now, some people might see that as Bert Kreischer being a good friend, but in my opinion, the time that he actually showed his true colors was when he did the movie The Machine, because that was a perfect time to actually show Hollywood what podcast comedians or Rogan Sphere comedians could do. And instead, he went the complete opposite way and let Hollywood do their thing. Because instead of him fighting for his friends, his close friends, to be in the movie, to be acting in the movie, they went with A-list celebrities in hopes of them carrying the movie, which was a complete failure.
Whoa,
it was a
well, hold on. Whoa. A-list. Are we saying Mark Hamill? Come on, I know if you're a Star Wars nerd, you might hold him up to some pedestal. I understand that. But for us outside of the Star Wars world, Mark Hamill is like a D at best. A D. Since Star Wars, like a D. What are we talking about here? A-list? Come on now. We're getting a little generous.
flop. They thought they could capitalize on Bert's audience and make it
Wait, who are these other people?
an Adam Sandler or Kevin Hart type deal, but they didn't realize that he didn't have the audience, and instead it was Joe Rogan. If you remember back then, there was a time when Bert Kreischer basically begged Joe's audience to watch the movie and to do it for Joe.
This movie was going to sit on a shelf. Joe, you've done so much for me. Do it for Joe, guys. Do it for Joe.
Do it for me.
Prove that he's the motherfucker.
Well, I just think it's a funny fucking movie.
And by the way, don't
I remember that. I remember that back then, and I think I was still listening, and I just thought it was so weird. I was like, "What? Who would put Bert in a movie?" Like, I only really knew Bert for when he came on the podcast, and it was just like always Rogan like tearing into him and stuff and making fun of him. I was just like, and Bert, you know, being Bert, and you're just like, who puts Bert in a movie? I remember it just felt really odd. And then I was like, Rogan saying this guy is a really funny movie, and I was like, what? This is real weird.
Don't forget to like the video. It helps out so much, and I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You had a much needed break. Don't you think this has been good for you, though, too?
It's been really good for me. It's been really good for me to slow down. I think, can I tell you the biggest thing, and this is maybe a little inside baseball, but like, I think when you're that busy, sometimes people ask you to do creative stuff, and you don't have the bandwidth for it, and so it comes out mediocre. And so like I'll give you a perfect example is like promo videos. They would tell me like, we need an on sale video for ... And I'd just be like, I get so many of those. And you have all this stuff that you just, all of a sudden I feel like the fun gets pulled out of the job. When the job was never intended to be work, it was meant to be fun.
It's supposed to be fun.
And it is work, but it should be fun work.
Yeah.
And that's when it's at its best is like and that's why I think when you see, I'll use Shane as an example, but when you see Shane make tires or Gillian Keeves, that was all just fun. It wasn't work yet. His calendar wasn't loaded. All he had to do was sit in an apartment with his boys and try to make each other laugh. And that's the beauty of the playfulness of stand-up, you know? And I think I had subtracted that out of it and gotten so many plates spinning that I couldn't have fun with anything. I just was like, I looked at everything as another job. And I think I'm glad that I got the opportunity to kind of slow down because now I'm having fun and trying to like writing jokes and shooting content that's fun and I'm enjoying doing podcasts that I'm not promoting anything. I'm just going on to do a podcast.
Well,
Like, you can relate to Bert doing that, even if you do like the stuff you want to work in or you like get your dream job. There's like jobs that I've wanted to do, and then at some point it just becomes work, or there's just as the coworkers are talking shit just like any other job. you're doing and then doing what you actually want. Like there's like limitations, and you feel burnt out, and a job becomes a job because that's just the nature of jobs. They become jobs at some point, and at some point you just got to buckle down and do them. But I think like you can relate to that what Bert's saying, but Bert's just trying to explain his self away after the fact, and it just doesn't seem believable. It's more about people thinking, oh, poor Bert, this is why, now he said that. That's what he wants more than just like being honest.
Then also maybe try not to get yourself in that same place again, right?
That's my goal. My goal is to downsize a little bit and bring it backwards, so that I don't have as much shit coming at me and just have fun with stuff.
Now, when it comes to Bert taking a break from touring, it is really odd and doesn't make too much sense, because if that was true that he chose to take time off, that would be the biggest form of self-control ever shown by Bert. Think about it. That would mean that he turned down a fully loaded tour, an arena tour, and the opportunity to do what he loves the most, being on the road, partying, and getting all the attention in the world. That would be like a gambler walking away while everyone else is hitting jackpots. It doesn't make any sense, because while Bert claims that it was his choice to take time off, at the same time, he's getting mad that he's not out there doing arenas with Tom. And instead of accepting that going from arenas to theaters is completely normal, he still feels the need to create a story and a narrative to explain what happened, which was absolutely predictable. We have been calling this out for the past 2 years, and back then, we mentioned how because of Bert's attitude and his behavior, it was pretty easy to see that he would have a hard time going from doing arenas to theaters, because, for example, back then, he used to make comments pointing out how Tom had only done one arena while he did arenas.
And who makes more money? You're Tom. You're selling more.
No.
Bigger
I mean, no.
plane.
I mean, I
should
don't
shut
know.
up, because I love him, and he'll eviscerate me. Probably.
No. Tom has I think his podcast, Your Mom's House, is very profitable. I don't think he's touring right now. So it's anytime anyone's touring, I definitely do bigger venues than he does.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he knows that.
Okay, good.
He's done an arena. I do arenas. So whereas Tom has done an arena,
one here.
He's primarily, his comfort levels theaters. That's where he really can sell tickets.
One truck.
Yeah, I have 5 semis and 3 tour buses.
And so, since now technically Bert is the one with only a few arena dates coming up later in the year, while everyone else, like Tom, has been doing arenas and is also on tour, that has to be bothering Bert. Now that he's no longer top 3, he realizes that he needs to actually start working on material instead of just focusing on marketing and partying. And look, to be fair, when it comes to the rest of the Rogan sphere, they're not that much better, because I just watched Ari Shafir's new comedy special on Netflix, and it wasn't that good. I mean, he did have...
I told you that, right? I'm telling you. Hey, I'm telling you. I got like a comedy psychic ability. If I say it, it's probably true. It is probably true. We did something on this about how nobody even reviewed it. It was bad, man. They're real bad. Go watch Andrew Schultz's.
Have 2 or 3 good jokes, and the best one was the closer, but the rest of the show was pretty boring. I mean, he talked about all the basic topics that every Rogan Sphere comedian touches, being censored, cancel culture. At some point, he was talking about not being able to say the R word in 2025. I mean, I don't know how long he was working on that joke for, but the point is that it wasn't that good. And same thing with Andrew Schultz. We'll talk about it in the next video, but we did review this back when I saw him live and was shocked at how much his material...
Said this too, right? I said this too, right? I'm telling you, I have a psychic ability. I'm sorry. Oh man, sometimes it's just funny being stupid. All right, but seriously, man, it's not. I'm not gifted, I'm not like Miss Cleo, like, come on, go the number. No, I'm not. I just been through some stuff where you can read a snake oil salesman. You can see him a mile away. So, Don't watch them. They're garbage.
material had changed.
Oh, and I'm waiting for Tony's. Tony's has come. Oh, we are going to have a national holiday when Tony's special comes out. Let me tell you.
Recently saw him live for the live tour, and after watching his new sets, his new hour, I was completely shocked at how much his stand-up comedy actually changed, because it's a complete night and day difference from his last comedy special, the infamous special, and his new comedy now is absolutely different. It was really disappointing, but now when it comes to Tom, this here is a perfect example of how money does change comedians, because you would think that a comic getting into an accident would eventually turn into a funny story on the podcast, since, you know, they are podcast comedians at the end of the day. But instead, this is what we got.
Hang on. Can I ask you something?
Hold on. Comedy enforcement's coming fierce. Look at him go. He's coming in hot. Just like, it was a disappointment. He's like, and then he straight up calls them, podcast comedians. Dude, comedy enforcement slinging today. Oh, man, it was cracking me up. Anyways, okay.
Yeah.
When did you know they had video of you talking to that lady, or did that video show up and you found it? The lady that hit your car.
I knew it. Yeah.
Or you knew they had video?
Yeah.
Did you know you were being recorded?
Not at that moment. No.
Okay.
And she also,
was there a moment?
The moment the video cuts off is the moment the video cuts off. Like, I didn't edit, because people were like, oh, it sounds like you were about to get really aggressive with it. I was like, yeah, I did. But they just stopped recording.
That's the crazy part. Is I was wondering if you were nervous that you might have said something that you didn't want out there.
No, I wasn't. I mean, it was an insane, like, series of events to, like, watch somebody hit your car, walk up to them and go, hey, you just backed up into my car, and have that person look at you in your face and go, I don't think I did. And I'm like,
listen, there's something in the water, right? Because I can testify to the weirdness of public outings. People are, something is really missing. Just like, can we just have a common decency in public spaces? People are so rude, especially when you go into stores and stuff like that. Like, people walk into you, they won't do this, they're not courteous, like, people are rude. You go parking lots. Lord, parking lots. The other day, there was 2 cars parked in the middle of the lane, and they were both out trying to get in a fight. I was like, yo, what is this? It's just like, can we not agree on some common ground in the public spaces? It's like, you got to get food. You got to get gas. You got to go, get a TV or go to the movies. Like, can we just be chill? Can we be chill in those environments? Like, I just tired. Like, I had to tell 2 people, like, this week, like, yo, you're being rude. What are you doing? Because I do that. When someone does something like that, that's just aggressively rude, I say, hey, you, no, just like that.
Like, I watched you. And then she goes, I don't think I did. I go, not like, do you think you did? You did.
Yeah.
I don't think I did. And then you're like, yeah, your trailer hitch has the paint from my hood on it. Yeah, this was, I didn't know I was being recorded, but yeah. And then.
That's a terrifying feeling when you find out in a heated moment you're being recorded.
Yeah. Well, but the trailer thing, I was like, lady, I not only did I watch it, like, there's the trailer hitch and there's the hood of my car. It's like a perfect match. There's the paint on the corner. There's the paint. Yeah, it was just nonsense.
Now I'm curious,
That's what happens, man. People hit your car and just take off. Like, if he wasn't there to say something, that's probably what would have happened. Like, the parking lots, man. Parking lots are like little fight pits, man. They're just like little, people are aggressive in parking lots. And then if you come from like city, people are like begging in the parking lots too, man. It's just a jungle out there, man. That's pretty crazy if you think about parking lots. Yeah. Just go to a Costco.
I want to know what idiot on the internet blamed you or took her side for it.
Oh, a whole bunch.
That's crazy.
A whole bunch.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So people on the internet was like, bro, you're rich.
Oh yeah.
You can just fix it.
If you can afford this car, you can afford to fix it. They're like,
They should flag those accounts. By the way, I'd interview Putin in a heartbeat.
interview? Yeah, it'd be a fun
100%.
interview for sure.
Are you kidding me?
Now, what's really funny about this is that when I first saw this on social media, on Instagram, I thought it was pretty straightforward. You know, the lady hit him and drove off, and so it's clearly not Tom's fault. But then, you know, hearing him talk about it on the podcast quickly reminded me just how out of touch he was, because instead of trying to find a way to make that funny, it was really just him complaining about the whole situation. And it is pretty funny because if you remember, Tom has been getting backlash and getting trolled ever since he decided to lash out and call out the poors a while back. And so in this case, the fact that he's driving a supercar, a car that is worth like $200,000, and then gets hit by someone who he would call a poor, I mean, that is pretty poetic. Once again, I'm not saying he's in the wrong when it comes to the accident, but his reaction was definitely funny because I could be wrong, but the fact that he does have a lot of money makes it way less relatable. I mean, as someone that loves cars, I completely understand the pain of someone just hitting your car. The fact that he could just take it to the shop and has many other cars waiting for him, again, makes it way less relatable. At this point, I feel like people would relate more to the lady that hit him than to him, because I feel like I have a way bigger chance of at some point crashing into a supercar than owning one. But also, could you imagine a stand-up comedian getting on stage and talking about how much it sucks watching their supercar get hit by someone with no money? I mean, unless it was a corporate gig, no one would find that relatable. But the point is that it's really funny watching Tom not getting the hate comments, because think about this. He makes fun of Bert Kreischer for making everything about himself, but then he goes on and posts an entire video, essentially a mini documentary, showing how his supercar, his $200,000 car, got hit. And so even though Tom likes to make fun of Bert and call him out, at the end of the day, he's also the victim of the exact same thing, because he's basically focusing on everything else except his own comedy. I mean, I'm pretty sure we just watched an episode of a comedy podcast, but there was no comedy.
Wait, I was just thinking, do you think Tom Segura, when he had to drive that car home, do you think he was all self-conscious, like, I hope nobody sees that dent in the hood when he's driving? Because, you know, guys like that, they buy those cars so they can be looked at. Like, if you drive one of those cars, you're going to get looked at. And so that's why people like Tom Segura buy them. And you think he was, like, self-conscious? Like, I don't know if you ever grew up with a broken car, dude, and you might have some, like, duct tape to hold down your convertible top, you know, off of your old, like, shitty car, you know, or, you know, your door might not open, so you have to crawl through the window. You know, there's many things, many people had a hoopty, right? And so you do stuff. And when, the worst thing about having a hoopty is everybody just seeing you drive a hoopty, you know, and you're driving. I had a car where it was the worst car, and they made it in convertible, which was a horrible idea, and the roof stopped working. So in the winter, I'd have to drive with the top down. And the worst part, everyone just looks at you and like, that, they're poor. They're real poor, you know? And just like, it's just like your poverty on full display. You like stopped at a stoplight, and people are just like, oh, dude, driving a piece of shit car is the worst. Anyways,
I felt the same way you did for a very long time.
Yeah, but look at how big you are now.
No, but I think what happened with me is you get this. I mean, this is exactly what happens. Is you take on a responsibility like a movie where you're the star of it, or a TV show, or a tour, or you create a tour, or you do an arena tour where you had that was never my goal was never to try to be like a you know, I want to be the man. I remember Schultz came on my podcast when I did it out of my house, my old house, and I was like, so what's the goal? And he was like, to be the GOAT. And I was like, what? And he was like, I'm coming after Chappelle and I'm coming after Bill Burr. And I was like, I remember hearing that going like, oh, I just hope they think I'm funny.
Yeah, I don't have that in me at all.
But what happens is you start doing bigger things, and then all of a sudden you have to, it gets out of control. It gets totally out of control, and then you have 15 people working for you, and you've got a vodka company and a 5K and a summer festival and a cruise and an arena tour and a movie and a TV show and another movie and 3 movies in development. And you're writing another movie with another guy, and then you're like, wait, I don't know what did I get into this for? Like, it's almost like you go, like, what were we talking about?
Now, to be fair, there is a chance that he wasn't lying and he simply took a break and is coming back to do arenas the whole time. but I doubt it. To me, it seems like he's really having a hard time with the idea that he's no longer an arena comic and doesn't want to be seen as a theater comic, which is absolutely insane. I mean, outside of Bert Kreischer's head, in the real world, when it comes to comedy, doing theaters means that you're absolutely killing it. It's insane. And then doing arenas, it's just unheard of. And so instead of taking Louis C.K.'s advice and mentally preparing for the slight drop-off, he basically sold himself on the idea that he would always be doing arenas, which is insane. But yeah, this whole situation is wild, and it will be interesting seeing how it eventually plays out. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Leave a like and subscribe to support the channel. Dislike if you didn't like the video. But that is all we have for today.
There you go. The saga of Bert continues, and I think, my personal opinion, it is going to get tragically worse as soon as that special drops. I think it is going to be so bad for him if he is on social media or the internet in general. It is going to be a horror show. And I'm excited for it because it's going to make some good content, and we're going to talk about it because that's just what we do. See you later.
Don't stay.